Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Commute Talk. It's Monday, new week, new opportunities, and it's barely raining, so we're off to a decent start. I hope you're off to a good start too. So today, Casper writes in suggesting the topic of yak shaving, which, of course, is the phenomenon where you're trying to work on something, but you keep finding other things that it would just be so much better if you would fix that first, because then you could do a better job of the first thing. And yeah, I think it's something that we're all familiar with if we've been programming for more than a couple of months. And I definitely relate to this. I get this impulse. And it's something that I try to apply a fair amount of resistance to nowadays, and it doesn't always work, but if it doesn't work, then I try to apply structure instead of resistance. So something that really affected me in this subject is I was having a conversation with my old friend Ben from the WebKit and Qt projects, and this was like a long time ago, back in the day when we were just young boys starting out in WebKit, and we were looking through the recent commit logs together, just looking at recent WebKit changes, and Ben said that, like, look at these guys here. Some of these guys are putting out like huge changes almost every single day, just making big new features or optimizations or like complicated refactorings. And he said that like that's how I want to be like, and I want to get to the point where I can push out these big changes and make huge, impactful improvements. And he was just in awe of this, and looked at it as something that he should strive for. And of course, then he very rapidly became like that. And I guess to an extent I did as well. But that conversation has always stuck with me. Like I remember it so vividly, because prior to that moment, I was very happily engaging in willy-nilly yak shaving and refactoring rampages and stuff, and I still do those things, but just this revelation that there is something that you can strive for to be highly productive and create large and cool things on a regular schedule. Like, I think that's something very, very cool if you can learn how to do that. And I think it's something that we should all strive for. We should all strive to learn. And I'm still learning that, but I'm doing okay lately. So when I mentioned that I try to put structure in my yak shaving, what I mean is I try to be very clear-headed about it and always keep track of the tail that I'm trying to that I need to recurse back up to. So if I go into fixing some different thing, then I have a very clear picture of what it is I'm trying to achieve, and I make sure that I don't just fix the thing up and then go back to what I was doing. No, I fix the thing up and give it the time and the space to be its own thing, write out a proper commit message, and like finish the thing atomically before returning to the other thing. Because I think that that's something that was a downside of my yak shaving habits in the past, that I would sort of fix up a bunch of stuff, and then when it came time to make a commit, then I had the change I wanted to make, but I also had all these other changes that my change now depended on, but they were not separated. And sometimes it can be difficult to sort of unroll that into iterative commits or incremental commits. And I find that that it's much better if you commit as you go incrementally, because it just keeps your workflow a little more structured and more compartmentalized. And then, of course, if you apply discipline that you never commit anything that doesn't build, and you do your very best to never commit anything that doesn't work. These, by the way, are policies that I picked up from huge projects that I worked on. And huge projects tend to have a lot of really sane policies like that. And they're really like a necessity when you're working so many people together, but they make just as much sense in a project, even if it's just you, because good development hygiene and good development policy can make even difficult tasks or unpleasant tasks a lot easier and faster and more pleasant, just by making it smooth to get through them. So, like, yak shaving needs to be compartmentalized, I guess, so that you just put yourself in that state, like, okay, so now I'm going to shave this yak, I'm going to fix this thing, but after I fix it, I tie it up into a commit and add it to the long list of commits, and then go back to the thing I wanted to work on. And I find that when you work like that and you actually tie the knot on every instance of yak shaving that you do, and of course sometimes I forget, but I tend to remember most of the time. But I find that really helps fight the urge to do this all the time, because you learn this about yourself, that if you engage in yak shaving, then you also have to do it seriously and take it seriously, and not just like, oh, I'm gonna hack over here and now I'm gonna hack over there, and like, I'll just commit it later, whatever. That sort of thing, it lets you, if you approach it that way and you don't structure it, then you can very easily go and like write out a patch that touches every part of your code, and there's no structure and no sensibility to it. Anyway, that's something that I find really helps. And then another thing that really helps me is to say these magic words, which I'm just not going to worry about that right now. And if you have watched my hacking videos, then you know that that's something that I say every now and then. And apparently I say it so often that sometimes people ask me, why do you say that so often? Aren't you worried that you're never going to get back to the thing? And I'm not really worried about that, because my experience has taught me that I eventually get back to the thing. And I really do believe that rejecting these impulses, like acknowledging them and then rejecting them, allows me to commit them to memory and move on with the thing I'm trying to achieve instead. And this is like a game of discipline that everyone plays with themselves. It's hard to say no, especially when something just looks so juicy, and it would only take a couple of minutes, and it would clearly be nicer if we did this or that. Because it's a slippery slope, right? Like, once you start doing that, then you'll find something else juicy, and you won't be able to stop. So, at least this is my mind state about yak shaving at the moment. I think it will probably change in the future, and it's something that matures as I mature, and I'm sure that you probably have maybe a similar or a different mind state about yak shaving, and you also find that it matures as you mature. I'm curious to see what the next level of maturity is after the one I'm currently at. I guess I would say that about every aspect of life, really. I'm curious about what comes after this. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting subject. Okay, I don't know what else to say about it. So I guess that's yak shaving. I would love to hear what other people do to resist yak shaving. I think I feel like one thing that would help is probably if I would be more disciplined about writing, like creating bug reports about yaks I would like to shave. I feel like that could be one of the next upgrades to my maturity, but I haven't taken that step yet. I don't know. But I can tell that it's there. It's like, should I start writing bug reports? Maybe I should. I don't know. Do you have any ideas for how to upgrade your yak resistance? Let me know. And thank you again, Casper, for the topic suggestion. It's very nice to have all these suggestions. I'm full on. I have so many suggestions again, and I would love to have more, so please send more. And I'll get to them when I get to them. And I'm reaching my off-ramp here, so I'm gonna focus on driving carefully through the city. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me on the commute. And let's have a decent Monday, or even a good one if possible. And I will see you next time. Bye.